low-quality pastures and crop residues are deficient in fermentable nitrogen, carbohydrates, and minerals. The blocks are therefore a strategic feed supplement for ruminants as they provide a constant source of fermentable nitrogen and energy throughout the day to promote growth of the rumen microbes and the animals.
These molasses urea blocks or multinutrient blocks are blocks that are supplements that we give to our animals. We make sure that these blocks have high levels of certain nutrients, which nutrients are required for the proper growth or performance of the animals. In these blocks, as the name suggests, we say they are sometimes called molasses urea blocks. We have molasses. These molasses are a source of energy, and they are also a readily fermentable carbohydrate source to the rumen microbes that we have in the rumen of the animal. When the microorganisms get enough carbohydrates and also enough protein from the urea that we add to these multinutrient blocks or molasses urea blocks, then the microorganisms are going to grow well and multiply. So you will have high population of these microorganisms, which are usually bacteria, protozoa, and fungi.
Now, livestock farm managers and farmers from 10 districts in the Central and Western Cattle Corridor have been trained in the production of urea molasses blocks. Multinutrient blocks are supplementary feed of boost beef production in the country.
The urea being dissolved in the molasses. We also want the salt dissolved in molasses. Now when you add them at the same time, you have trouble dissolving the even more difficult urea. So you would rather actually deal with the urea first and then you add the salt.
People get a feeling because you stop in the middle.
What is the feeling supposed to be?
It follows 4 steps. The first is to prepare the material. As part of the materials we had molasses as an energy source, highly fermentable. We had maize bran. We had grass hay, many Rhodes grass hay. We had leguminous leaf hay from Coriandra, Gricidia. We also had binders such as cement and cassava flour. So after preparing the materials, then we move into weighing. Each of those materials are blended in different proportions to make a well-balanced multinutrient block. The third step is giving shape. Either rectangular, square, or it could be oval. It doesn't matter as long as you have given shape to this mixture. Then finally drying, and drying is usually done under the shade because rapid drying brings about cracking.
So these blocks are very helpful in that they will cater for the requirements for the microbes, and then the animal will benefit because all the fibrous feed that they will be eating will be broken down by the microorganisms. Then there will be space created in the rumen of that animal. Then the animals can keep taking in more feed. When we have improved feed intake, then we are going to have better growth of our animals. If they are milking animals, we are going to have higher milk yields. Yes, so that is what we have actually been doing here today. We are making supplements. They are actually supplements that we give to our animals that are mostly feeding on low quality pastures, because the low quality pastures are deficient in most of these nutrients that we have talked about. The molasses, the molasses are a source of energy because these very fibrous materials are low in readily fermentable carbohydrates, which will be an energy source. Then we have urea, which is converted into proteins. When the pastures have matured or we are feeding crop residues are a good source in that they are readily available. It's a cheap feed resource, but they have a disadvantage because they are low in most of the nutrients. So when we provide these nutrients like the energy, the protein that is in form of urea, and then we also add the minerals that we've added to the blocks, then the animals will be able to perform well because all requirements of the microbes have been catered for and the microbes are doing their work very well, so our animals are going to also perform well.
The Promote Supplementary Feeding project is part of the developing a market-oriented and environmentally sustainable beef meat industry in Uganda, which is a Government of Uganda program supported by the European Union under the overall supervision of the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries.
We noticed that most farms, the animals on those various farms are not being fed well and they are going hungry day in, day out. So they are not putting on the weight that is expected of them. You may find an animal which could have made 200, 300 kilograms in a space of close to 18 months. But then you realize later on that the animal is taking 3 years, 4 years to put on the same weight it would have put in 18 months. So the pastures that these farms have, in our view, they are having football pitches, not farms with appropriate pastures that could provide the required nutrition that the animal would use actually to put on weight. So we are trying to say that when you don't have very good pastures, plant giant panicum, plant elephant grass, plant Chloris Guyana and all these. Then you can make hay, make silage. But those, in our view, are referred to as beso feed. But the beso feed is just a part of the feeds that the animal will require. We are saying that each time the animals are being fed, it's good to supplement, look at the nutrition gap in what you're providing the animals and supplement the feeds. Provide them concentrates, which are various types, including the multi-nutritional block that we have been making today here in Kabanyoro.
Makerere University lead instructor Dr. Justin Nambi said supplementation with rare molasses blocks significantly increases feed intake, milk yield, and growth rate, and they are therefore a cost-effective approach to utilization of locally available feed resources for improved productivity.
Most times you find most of our farmers just give only the pastures, and these pastures do not have some of the nutrients at the required levels to achieve, improved productivity of the animals. So if the farmers miss out on this aspect, then it means the animals will not be able to perform as well because they are not getting all the nutrients that are required for the different functions, ranging from growth, milk production, even reproduction. So those farmers will be missing out on that aspect. Their animals will not be able to perform as well as those that are receiving supplements.
Farmers, we need to think about science. We cannot continue to farm traditionally because we lose money farming that way. Cows take longer to gain weight and they end up suffering. Some of the cows have very tough meat that we usually eat on the market. But with these cows, they have tender meat, they gain weight fast. And I know we have these misconceptions about science, but this is the best way to farm. It makes money, it makes tender meat, and we are all happy.
We've been feeding our animals on ordinary grass without any supplementation. We have been some of our farmers here have been thinking that if you get hay you cut it, you take it to the animals, you get fodder, you take it ordinary pastures, you take them to the animals. That is supplementation. But now we have learned that these forages that we give to our animals are not adequate enough. This is why it is necessary to supplement your animals using these high density diets like we have made today.
Strain of a trainee, the challenges farmers have been facing is that majorly they have been having pasture shortage during the dry seasons, and have not been having, most farmers are not using the conservation methods of pasture like hay and silage. So this training is geared towards empowering the TOTs with the skills and the hands-on, so that at the end of the day these skills can be relayed to a farmer there so that they can conserve pasture, so that in the dry season they can keep the productivity of milk and also beef, so that they are not affected by the dry spell. So this project is looking towards sustainability of pasture, so that what is abundant in the wet season can be preserved, conserved and used in the dry season when pastures are minimal.
Mixing the water, molasses and microbes. We start sprinkling on the materials we have laid down, and then after that is where we're heading the process of compacting. But we normally add using a watering can. But you be systematic when you are spreading this. Make sure everywhere gets.
Starting from the edges?
Yeah.
Silage and hay are preserved or stored, feed given to the cattle during storage of the green forage. Silage is very nutritious and easy to digest feed for the cattle.
You see, when you look at this feed, this is a TMR, or this is a complete mixed ratio, whereby we have mixed the silage and the hay together, as well as the concentrate. We have mixed silage, we have mixed hay, we have mixed molasses, we have mixed spent grain, and we have also put maize bran and other ingredients. The reason why we are doing that is to make sure that we increase the nutrient levels. I want this animal to eat the feeds, that when these feeds are given to it in the day, it has enough nutrients to make for me the muscles that I want. The palatability and the sweetness I was talking about, as you can see how this animal is enjoying, we have mixed together the ingredients that are needed to make sure that this feed is sweet, to make sure that this feed has enough nutrients that we want for this animal to be able to give us 1 kilo a day. And we have also mixed nutrients or ingredients that will make sure that the digestibility or the ability of the feed to release nutrients to the animal is high. So as when this animal eats, it is able to utilize the feeds and give us the beef that we want.
Storing silage is much easier than storing hay, as it requires less space.
Supposed to compact. And also compacting must be systematic, so that you have something good level and well compacted. If you are using some normal uses, you get a drum and then you pour water. You fill it with water. That is heavy. So you pack it somewhere there. After doing this, you lay it on top and then roll it 2-3 times. It's very well compacted. Those with maize, like using a tractor, you also compact well. But if you are using people like us, you normally go and then you come back. That's systematic, eh? And then you also continue like this.
If somebody has serious music, if somebody has
can we do like how can I have people do like what Julius is doing?
Experts from Makerere University College of Agriculture say that if you feed your domestic animals on silage, it will ensure high milk production. The animal will stay healthy and good beef.
As you know, we have 14.9 million livestock units of livestock, but we are not getting enough products to meet the requirements of our population. So the idea is that we need to change the management, the way we manage the animals, from being the low input, low output, extensive grazing systems to high input but more sedentary, intensive feedlot systems in order for per animal to increase the productivity per animal, and therefore more meat will be produced, perhaps, we hope, from a smaller number of animals. We are producing less beef because our animals take about 3 years to mature, to reach slaughter stage. Now we are saying, how can we increase beef production? One way of increasing beef production is to ensure that the animals grow very fast. Within 2 years, you are able to sell off your animals. And how can you do that? One can be through improvement of animal breeds, but another way can be through proper feeding, nutrition. So what we are trying to do here with this training of trainers and other farmers is we are trying to establish a feedlot, a structure for feedlotting animal. Now, a feedlot is where you bring young animals, about 1 year old, then you bring them to this structure where they are properly fed, such that they reach market age very fast. So when they reach very fast, it means every year you remove more animals for slaughter. And as you feed them properly, even the quality of beef we are going to produce, one will be tender, then two, even in terms of marbling, as you eat it, you feel it's juicy, it will be according to international standards. We farmers adopt feedlotting. One, the number of animals we are going to remove from the rangelands will increase. Now, when we remove more animals from the rangeland, it means we are going to reduce the stocking rate, even in the rangelands, on the ranches. So we will ensure that we minimize actual land degradation due to overstocking. Then to the farmer, as he is able to finish animals very fast and supply every 3 months, 3 to 4 months, you are able to supply animals to the butchery, it means the farmer is also going to earn a lot of money because he is able to sell more animals per year than when the animals are finished on the grass. Then it's also going to have some ramifications on feed industry. Those who are going to produce feed for feedlotting are able to actually supply more feed and create more jobs even in the feed industry. So Uganda will have that opportunity to have employment in the feed industry, those who will be supplying the feed. Farmers whose maize at the moment is fetching less money, maize will be consumed as part of the feeds. It will create a market for the grain producers, for those who are formulating feed rations, and also to the butchermen. They will be able to get the quality animals which can be of international standard, and we should be able to even supply the Middle East where actually there is demand for these animal products.
Or if we are looking at increasing the quality of beef and the animals growing very fast and reach a market weight very fast, we also need breeds for those animals that are able to convert feeds into muscle in larger quantities. Different breeds have different ways of converting feeds. The Ankore, the Boran, the Bonsmaras, the Brahman. So as we are doing this, we are also tackling into the breeding aspect of it, so that the animals that we put in the feedlot are able to convert the feeds that they are getting into into muscles. Now, By doing that, we are solving those kind of problems. 2, we are teaching farmers that please, don't let the animals move everywhere. Establish good pastures, put paddocks, and let the animals move smaller distances so that they don't burn now the calories they have eaten. So those are the challenges that we have, and we are trying to sort them. 2, another challenge, as we are promoting feedlotting, there is another challenge. Now, for me, as a feedlotter or a person who is confining animals, every time I'm spending money on this animal. Now, my cost of production will be higher than the person who is letting the animal to roam around. My advantage would be that my animal will grow fast, the quality of my meat is going to be good, but the challenge is in Uganda now is that the market has not yet realized the difference between a good beef which has been raised under feedlot and that one which is left to roam around. But we are also working on that. We are going to make sure that our population is taught on understanding the quality of beef, because by taste, even by cooking, the beef of an animal which is raised in a feedlot is very different from that raised in an animal which has just been roaming around. So as we are intending to train our farmers, we are also working on that. We need to make sure that our population understands to buy beef in terms of quality, and that will solve all the problems.
The project is implemented by the Private Sector Foundation Uganda in collaboration with Rob Brand Holdings Limited, Makerere University College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, the Green Elephant, Orchid House Farm, Nakasongola, and the Livestock Development Program.
Whatever you can. But this man also. Slap his head. Are you from Jimona? Can I clap you?